let's talk about, we talked about network marketing. We understand why the timing is so amazing right now, why this crisis has created this huge opportunity for us. Now, let's talk about why travel. I mean, there's other companies that sell other products. Why is it travel? Well, what a lot of people mistakenly believe is they believe when it comes to creating some big success story in business, the best way to do it is to invent something brand new, something no one's ever heard of before, okay, like the cell phone or the fax machine, something that's new. And although there are definitely those examples of companies that invented something new and became hugely successful, it's very rare, okay? There's a book called Blueprint to a Billion that really talks about this, and what the author did is he studied companies that went public, and then once they went public, which companies grew to over $1 billion a year in annual sales, okay? And during that 3-year period, less than 5% did that. So less than 5% of the companies go public become that. So let's talk about what are the similarities. And the author says it's not inventing a new product, okay? What it really has allowed most of those companies to become huge is what they did is they entered a space and offered a product or a service in an industry that was already existing, that was already very large, okay? That was key, that it's a large industry, and what they would do is they would do something just a little bit different, and by doing something just a little bit different, they were able to carve a small piece of a big pie, and a small piece of a big pie would allow them to become a billion-dollar success story. And that, a lot of you know, my favorite example of this is Starbucks. Okay, Starbucks is a great example. Did Starbucks invent coffee? It's kind of a crazy question, right? No, they didn't invent coffee. Coffee's been around for quite a while. And you can buy coffee just about everywhere, right? Coffee is a massive industry around the world. $100 billion a year is spent on coffee. It's a massive industry. Was Starbucks successful? What did they do? They did something just a little bit different. And by doing something just a little bit different, they carved out 8% of that pie. Pretty significant piece. Starbucks today does over $8 billion a year in sales. Now let's compare the coffee industry. Again, a key to this, remember, is that you have a large industry, coffee, large industry, $100 billion. Then you've got travel, $8 trillion. $8 trillion. Travel is 80 times the size of the coffee industry, okay? Much, much different. Now, something that is really key to this on why travel is understanding something that you hear us talk a lot about, and a lot of you could probably recite some of this information in your sleep, and that is the baby boomers. Understanding the baby boomers. Yes, that was that group of babies where we had a huge surge in births earlier in the century, from 1946 to 1964. 46 marked the time where a lot of people had come back. They had been away for years, come back from war. They hadn't seen their loved ones in a while. They celebrated. They had a bunch of babies. Okay, huge surge of births. That had continued till 1964. What marked the end of that? The invention of the birth control pill. Okay, so we all know that, right? That huge surge of births. Okay, created a big group of consumers. Well, Harry S. Dent, who's probably the most respected economic forecasters out there, what Dent talks about is he said, in order to really understand this baby boom generation, you got to understand more than those that were born between that time period. You also have to understand immigration, because it also depends on how people immigrate. And in 1990, there was a huge surge of immigration into this country. The average immigrant immigrates at age 30. We look at spending patterns of Americans, the peak spending, us as consumers, we spend the very most at age 46. Okay, so we graduate from high school, or we get our car, we go to college, we do our things, we're spending more, we get a house, we get another house, Okay, then our kids grow up, and then we put them through college. And so we spend up until about age 46. And then after 46, that's when we start to spend less. We go on the decline as far as spending. Okay, well, if you look at this big group of consumers from 46 to 64, okay, this group of babies, okay, and then you couple that with the immigrants that immigrated in 1990, this massive surge of immigration, average age of 30, you graph all of that, and you look at this group of consumers. This group of consumers is 4 times greater than any prior generation. There's never been a bigger group of consumers to market products to. They're less than 25% of the population, but they do over 50% of all the spending. Well, the peak of the peak of the peak of this group of consumers, when you look at the peak spending of 46 of that group, the peak of the peak of the peak is right now. Right now, okay? Before you applaud, let me give you some more information. Because what does that mean if it's the peak? What happens after the peak? Decline. Okay, that's why Dent calls this the end of consumerism. This marks the end of consumerism. Let me tell you, for most businesses, this is bad news. Now, Dent does go on to explain how there's a couple industries that are products and services where consumers actually, after age 46, spend more money on, not less. They actually spend more. Would you be interested to know which those are? Okay? The first one he talks about is healthcare. Right, it's kind of obvious, right? And then the other is leisure travel. Okay? So for both of those industries, healthcare and leisure travel, after age 46, okay, you're going into your peak spending years. That means that spending for this group is going to continue. We're just now entering those peak spending years, and that growth is going to continue over the next 18 to 20 years. Okay, can you say cha-ching? So this is fantastic news for healthcare and leisure travel. And so if you are looking for that right network marketing company and you want to capitalize on the biggest trend in history, the biggest generation of consumers that you could market products to, no bigger one to market products to, then you're trying to find a network marketing company, you've got a couple different products that you can choose from. One, nutrition, because that falls right in well with healthcare, would you all agree? And the other is travel. Healthcare or travel. Okay, now, nutrition, the nutrition industry, talk about how big that pie is, it's much bigger than coffee. It's $228 billion. $228 billion is spent on nutrition. Travel, $8 trillion, okay? 226 to 8 trillion. Now, here's what's really exciting about this. About half of the network marketing companies are nutrition network marketing companies. So that's about 2,000 nutrition network marketing companies all around the world. They're all competing for that same $226 billion pie. Okay, so 228 billion. So 228 billion, if all companies in each industry, the 228 nutrition, the 8 trillion travel, if all companies in the nutrition industry were the same size and all travel companies in the travel industry were the same size, there would be room for $228 billion nutrition network marketing companies. That's how much room there would be in that industry. In travel, there's room for 8,000 billion-dollar companies. That's how much room there is in that pie, okay? Well, we already know in this nutrition pie, there's 2,000 companies all fighting for that pie. Travel, there's only a few other travel network marketing companies that we even know of. And here's the best news. Not in the future, but right now. World Ventures is the world's leader in travel network marketing right now. there's another aspect of travel that's really important that you understand, especially if you're new to network marketing. The most important dynamic that allows network marketing to be the powerful vehicle that it is, because we all know that it's the power of the duplication. That's what creates the magic. That's how the social networking companies are growing so fast, and that's why network marketing is such a powerful distribution model. It's all in the duplication, okay? Prepaid Legal, they do about $500 million a year in sales. They're publicly traded, New York Stock Exchange listed network marketing company. They've been around for over 30 years. Well, recently they did a study that was very, very revealing. And what they did is they said, okay, of the sales that we do today, who's making those sales? And what they found, of the sales that they do today, 70 to 80% of the sales that they do today come from their sales reps that have been with the company for 12 months or less. And they have sales reps that have been with the company for over 30 years. But 70 to 80% of the sales that they're doing are from the sales reps that have been with the company for 12 months or less. We have a saying in this business, and that is, new blood is the lifeblood, okay? This business is all about the new people going out there and introducing new people and making new sales. That's what it's about. And the more complex and the more complicated your story is, or the more difficult your product is to explain, okay, when you have to have more technical knowledge or know the science or the formulas behind different products, the harder it is for you to explain, the slower it's going to duplicate. I mean, that's a pretty simple concept, right? The easier it is to talk about, the faster it will duplicate. And the thing that slows network marketing companies down from growing more than anything else is the apprehension that a brand new person has. Most people get into network marketing, they don't have a sales background. They don't have sales skills. They just are looking to create an additional source of income. So it's really a referring business more than it is a selling business. So when you're going out there and referring, okay, and you're talking to friends and family about getting involved in a business, for a lot of new people, that's an uncomfortable thing to do. They've never done that before. Well, travel doesn't eliminate that, but it does bring down the walls big time. So that person that in another company with a different product might have not ever been able to get up the nerve to go talk to that neighbor about that product, the fact that it's travel, it's a lot easier for them to go do that. And when they do go talk to that neighbor, simply because it's travel, that neighbor is much more receptive to it. And